Okay, so we're getting into a little minor blues today, okay? I'm in the key of A minor, and I'm using three simple chords, an A minor seventh, a D minor seventh, and an E7 sharp 9. 1-4-5 changes as usual, but the difference between this and the other lesson I did, combining rhythm playing with licks, is that that was all based on using major chords, A7, D7, E7, ninths, or whatever you want to use. But it's based on a major blues, okay? So what I'm doing in this lesson is kind of just subtly showing you how to combine the blues scale with the natural minor scale, okay? So let me just go ahead and play it, and then we'll talk about the scales that I used and take you through it lick by lick, okay? Now, it's not absolutely imperative that you know all of these scales that I'm using. There's not a lot. It's actually just 2 scales, but there's 5 fingerings in all, okay? But it does help to know the scales to understand what was played in the solo and what choices were made. I'm not blatantly playing any one scale per se, but just subtly combining bits and pieces together from each scale and the fingerings that I'm using. So right off the bat, the very first scale is the blues scale in what we call the box position. And that will sort of subtly be combined with the natural minor scale in the same position. So I kind of borrow notes from each, okay? And then along with that, I'm using the blues scale, tapping into the blues scale in the long form, or the linear version of playing it from here to here. And then I'm also using the octave position for that. And then also the octave position for the natural minor scale. And that's it, just those 5 fingerings for the whole thing. But as I was saying, it helps to really know the scales because then you can kind of see how I put it all together, okay? So the first lick up is just the intro phrase that you heard. So that's all basically just blues and pentatonic, but I'll do it again real slow. Ending on an A minor double stop. And then the next phrase I play comes right off of the flat 5 of the blues scale. And the next phrase up is, and that's where the minor scale starts to come into play, just dipping down to that B natural note. Doing a half step bend, which gives it a real scale type tone and sounds kind of sweet against the chord. Again, kind of tagging that note at the 4th fret, the B note. And then I start to ascend, basically ascending through the pentatonic notes and then kind of meeting up with the minor scale up high here. And there I am once again, just dipping into that minor scale, the B note again actually, toying a little bit with the A minor scale in the higher position. So that's a bend at the 13th fret on the B string, full step bend, little to no vibrato actually, and then release it. Hold it, release the bend. Just walking down the scale again, C, B, A, sort of A minor backwards. Okay, so that's naturally a longer phrase, of course, but again, I'm just kind of walking right down the natural minor scale. Just playing a phrase. And now I'm starting to bring a little bit more of the natural minor into play without abandoning the blues, you know, altogether. And it's just kind of returning to more blues flavored stuff toward the end of it. Let me play that whole thing slow for you. Hammer on and a pull off. Bend at the 7th fret on the G string. Release it and pull off or really flick off to the 5th fret. And then the next little phrase I play right there, I kind of hit the toggle switch back for a little bit more bite. And again, that's just very blues flavored, and it sort of comes off of what I played before. And then the next phrase, I jump up to the higher position of the blues scale. I'm really thinking about the blues scale right here. But I kind of drift into the full-blown A minor scale that's up here. All right? So that's a pretty long phrase, and that is what I would say is like a 50-50 combination of the two worlds, right? The straight blues information, and then the minor scale stuff. Just kind of putting them together, okay? So let me play that whole thing nice and slow. Hopefully I got that right. I'll play the tail end of that for you again. So that one starts off with just an A minor triad, A, C, and E, and I just sweep across those and just walk up the scale. E, F, G. And then I move into... So again, I'm kind of toggling back for the bridge pickup to get a little bit more bite. There's a pinched harmonic, obviously, at the 7th fret on the G string. So that's very blues flavored, and just touching on that last lick a little bit, that's where it goes to the E7 sharp 9, which is a very major sounding chord. So I tag into that major third of the chord, the G sharp, just an octave higher. So there you go, just a little tidbit on combining the minor scales with the blues scales, okay? And this is just over a simple minor blues progression. It's pretty common, nothing too extravagant, but if you haven't kind of explored this before, it can be a really cool thing to do. It lends itself to some really tasty playing. And as far as listening suggestions, you know, there's a lot of great minor blues out there. One that always comes to mind, for me at least, is Since I've Been Loving You from Zeppelin, where Jimmy really combines the blues scale with the natural minor scale really nicely. I mean, there's a lot of cool licks and phrases in there. He's in the key of C minor, but it's still the same. You know, he's got a pentatonic thing out the chute. And then right out the bat, you hear. You know, just stuff like that is really cool. Just a sweet sound. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson, and if you have, please take the time to subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you soon.